So step one when choosing a tip, you're going to need to size your tip.
Okay.
Tips go from 0 or 1 being the largest to 10 or 9 being the smallest. The pinkies are usually 10, 9s or 8s and so on, and the large thumb and the middle fingers can be 1s, 2s and 3s. But generally these ones in the middle would be like 4, 5, 6, sometimes 3s depending. When you are picking up a tip, you have a deep stop point, which is this kind of line at the top here, and then you have your well, which is this area. There are 2 rules when applying a tip. The well should make full contact with the actual nail. And the second rule is that the deep stop point must fit perfectly into the nail. If you have a client with a square free edge, it won't fit properly. And sometimes if their nail is very short, it won't fit and it actually won't bond properly. There are 2 main reasons why you need to do this. The first is so that way it creates a seal so water doesn't get in and the tip doesn't lift. Often when people are putting tips on, they lift the tip. So they'll put it on like this and then they'll lift up to push on the tip. And what happens is they get this air bubble, which we don't want. So the first rule is that the well is making full contact with the nail, not lifted in any way, and that the deep stop point is hitting off the free edge. In some cases you may have to pull it out if the nail is square. And the second rule is to make sure that the tip fits the nail from sidewall to sidewall. Now because tips don't have the same curvature as all nails, and you can see that one is like a slight curve and she has a much more deeper curve, this tip will not fit her nail properly, which means that you will have bonding issues. And this is why tips are a pain in the ass, because they make your life harder if you don't have the right size tip. So in order to get the tip to fit properly, I would have to squeeze that, which is almost impossible when applying it. I have to squeeze it so it's more of a curve, whereas because this one is more flat. So if I try to put that on, you can see from the side, I'll just turn your hand on the side a little bit so you can see in the picture or in the video that it's not going to go all the way down. If I press down on one side, it's going to lift up at the other side. Also, the tip is, when you measure, you have to measure from one side wall that's here to the other side. So if I put that tip down here into that side wall and press down here, the tip may be too small. It may look perfect from here or even look too big, but that's because it's not at the right curve. But if I put it down on one side and I press down here, I can see, okay, no, that one is okay.
That fits.
It will fit.
It looks a bit big, doesn't it?
It does look big because it's not curved properly. If I curve it, I'll just curve it like this. So you don't do that. But if I curve it, you can see the difference.
Yeah.
It actually fits perfect. If I go in and I use a size smaller than that, which would be a 7, I'll get a 7 there. So this one is a 7. Your numbers are located under the tip.
Yeah.
This one looks like it fits better and I don't have to pinch it. But if I press down onto the side, you can actually see when you pull the skin back that when the nail grows out, it's going to grow out here. Yeah. And it's going to come up here and the nail will start showing. Her natural nail will start showing in 2 to 3 weeks time. Okay. And so then the acrylic will just pop off like that, or the gel or whatever we're using. So a tip has to fit from sidewall to sidewall. Look at the gap on that side. It's even worse. So the gap on that side is worse because the nail is usually wider on one side. So if we push it on this side, it's less. So the tip has to meet from sidewall to sidewall. So that's the second rule. The tip must meet sidewall to sidewall. And the first rule, as we said, you must make sure that it bonds completely. The next rule is that the well of the tip should never cover more than 1/3 of the natural nail. If it covers half the nail, which it looks like here, what will happen is you'll get lifting. Yeah. So too much of a tip means, why are you even bothering to put gel or acrylic on? We might as well just get stick-on nails because you're gluing half the nail on and half of it is extension. So we want to cut the well. In order to cut the well, you have 2 options and 2 methods to do this. You can either use a file, which people find really difficult at first. You can file the tip backwards once you kind of get a little bit more confident with your file. and you can shorten the well, or you can go off and buy, we call half well tips, which is what you should have. But if they're out of stock, which they always are, you have the full ones. And why do they do full ones? For people who have longer nail beds.
And where would I get the other ones then? Just
from a beauty supplier. Yep. So then you go in and you would put your well on, and you can see there then it fits perfectly. So even though I shouldn't have to do that with a tip, and it weakens the tip, I have to do it because the tips aren't shaped to suit her nail shape. The next step after I've done that is to take my nail glue. And this is again where a lot of people go wrong. When you take the glue out, you need to pull it out and you need to leave the bulk of the glue on the brush. Don't be wiping it off. So pull it out carefully, put your glue down carefully, take the tip, scrape the side, and scrape the side. Don't paint it on like this. Scrape from bottom to top, then pat the glue into the well so it's all even, but you have to make sure there's a puddle in the tip. So you're scraping, and there's a puddle. If you are afraid that it might get on the client's skin, which it's okay if it does because it will come off once it's dry, you can always dab the tip down into the couch roll like that, and it will remove any excess if there was too much. When you're holding the tip, and this is again where people go wrong, the tip has to look like a cross. Your thumb usually goes forward or to the side, and the tip sits on the pointer finger.
Okay.
So you would actually be kind of holding the finger flat in your hand, flat. So not down, not up, flat. And then you're going to go in at an angle and put your tip on and wiggle it back and forth so it fits into that deep stop point, and then press down. And if the whole well of the tip looks like it's translucent, that means it kind of gives like the pink color, it means that it is bonded. You don't need to put a lot of pressure. If the tip is the right shape for the nail, it should fit perfectly. And then when the tip is on, it should look like it's going downwards. That means that it's on correct. If the tip is going upwards, it means that it's on incorrect. So again, I'll do another demonstration. So we know this one was, I think, a 7. So I'm going to go in with...
And you just leave the rest of the glue dry off then?
Yeah, you'll see now in a minute. So you take your 4. We're going to check the size of the 4. We're going to put it down one side. You can see that's way too small here. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go up to... She's actually got quite white nails. This is a number 2. So number 2 looks like it's way too big, but again, I'm just going to squeeze it. So yeah, she's about a 2. I'm going to try the 3. Is that a 3? No, it's a 3. Okay, try 3. So 3, side wall. So again, side wall.
That looks like it fits in, doesn't it?
Yeah, if I squeeze it... Though my problem is, and this is what you have to worry about, it's when they come after 2 weeks, it's about what will happen. So it's really hard to use these ones. So if I squeeze this a little bit, if I press it down into, so it meets the side wall, so you can see here in the video, down here, it kind of would be, because her nail is kind of wider, it's kind of gonna leave a tiny bit of a gap. So you could get away with it, but it will actually cause complications. I'll do it just so you can see what complications happen. It's easier to show you a mistake. Okay. So, actually, hold on just a second. I just have to pre-file this one. Because actually, sometimes doing them wrong is good for learning. You kind of understand what I mean. You won't see it until we're done. But at least then you'll be like, oh, now I get why you don't do that. So you go in, scrape, you can see a puddle. That puddle's not big, it's only tiny, so that one has to be much bigger. Sometimes I can't get a big puddle, I will just push it over to the other side, but it has to be like a puddle. Okay. Then I'm going to hold the finger straight, supporting with my middle finger, and I don't go like this because that's upright. You can see the tip going up. I go down and I place it up higher than I want, and I slide it in. It won't go any closer. It needs to, but it won't, because unfortunately the nail isn't round enough. And that's when you'll start to notice your shaping a little bit better. And then I place it on. Okay, so it looks good, but when we start to file, you'll see how it comes down. So we'll go in with the next one. So I'm going to go in with one size bigger.
Well, do you think that one would just fall off faster?
It won't fall off. It would just when she has her gel put on and stuff, you'll find there'll be a gap on the side, which means when her nails grow, they won't. It can have a tendency to lift more easily from that area, but it doesn't always. It's just not correct, you know.
Yeah.